What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, while we're going through this situation in the NBA with Kyrie Irving and the supposed movie that he promoted on his platform, I just want to talk about a couple of things here. And be patient with me. I'm going to get to the point. You guys remember last month Till premiered, right? Now, this was the first major motion picture to talk about Emmett Till. Of course, you had some TV documentaries, some TV movies, maybe even some independent movies talking about it. But this was the first supposed major motion picture to talk about Emmett Till. Of course, he was the 14-year-old who was brutalized, mutilated, lynched, murdered, and his body then totally just destroyed by two wretched pieces of shit human beings, right? Supposedly because he whistled at a woman, which some people say he didn't even really do that. Now, this movie, because of the existing power structure, was deemed to fail from the start. Only released in 16 theaters throughout the country its first weekend? Seriously? And then slowly expanded to 2,000. But by that point, the damage had been done. It was deemed a failure, and the movie just underperformed. Remember a couple years ago, Nate Parker had that movie Birth of a Nation about Nat Turner, his rebellion. Now, that movie was purposely set up to fail. People were lied to, wanted to purchase tickets. They were told that the movie was full or the movie wasn't airing, even though the newspaper and internet was saying, no, this movie is going to be airing at 11:40 to 1 something. Oh, this movie is not airing. And then remember, just conveniently, as that movie was coming out, there were these whack-ass fake charges that were levied against Nate Parker at the time, right? Once again, the existing power structure causing a movie to show a plight from our side, it was destined to fail. The original Birth of a Nation, which came out in 1915, well, there was nothing done to block the success of this movie. This is considered by most the most racist movie ever. Its portrayal of black Americans, especially black men, was particularly loathsome. But guess what? This movie in 2022 dollars made the equivalency of over $2 billion today. $2 billion. This movie was pitted around the Civil War era. Well, actually, past the Civil War era. And while there were some facts in this movie, it sound like another movie, right? There were a lot of fiction in this movie. Sound like another movie, right? That people are up in arms about. This movie portrayed Abraham Lincoln as a friend of the South. A friend of the South. And this movie was trying to get the North and the South to realize that the true enemy wasn't each other, but niggas. And the threat that we pose to white supremacy and white purity. And they portrayed black characters, not with black actors, because this is 1915. What they had was white men, who had prominent features, somewhat big noses for their to be white, thicker lips. They would paint them in blackface. Totally black. And they portrayed black men as bestial monsters who had a predatory lust for white women, aggressive toward white women. White men had to protect their women from us savage beasts, and we were projected and portrayed as being violent and very ignorant, real stupid animals. And you want to talk about offensive? This movie preyed upon the fears of race mixing and blacks being in control of society, holding high office, etc., etc., etc. This movie was praised. Matter of fact, it was viewed first by none other than Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, the 28th President of the United States, who I think we should all demand be dug up from his 100-year sleep. He's been dead since 1924. He should be dug up from his 100-year slumber and made to apologize. I mean, ain't this what we had in this country? We need to make him wake up, I don't know, do some chant, bring life back into his bones briefly, so his jaw can fall off like Adam and Beetlejuice. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know? But, yeah, I demand an apology from the late Woodrow Wilson. That's how irrational I am right now. This movie also caused the rise of the Klan, of the Ku Klux Klan, right? Now, the Ku Klux Klan had pretty much disappeared after 1875 or something, right? But this movie led to the revitalization of the Ku Klux Klan, which reached its peak in the 1920s, when I think there was something like 6 or 7 million members of the Klan in the 1920s. Official members. I'm not talking about sympathizers. That would have been in the teens of millions, right? That's the legacy of this film. Lynchings, hangings. Did anybody ever apologize to us for this fucking movie? Nope. This is the most offensive. They portrayed the Ku Klux Klan as the heroes in this movie. The knights in shining armor, while we were the enemy. Did anybody ever apologize to us? Anybody ever send $500,000 to the NAACP for this atrocity? No, they consider this movie historically significant. This movie was considered historically significant, one of the greatest movies ever made, and still is to this day. Top 50 all-time movie. That's what they tell us. And critics loved it, including Siskel and Ebert. I mean, Gene Siskel, I just want to put out there for the record, was Jewish. AMC has shown this movie. You know, many media outlets you can find on social media, you'll be able to find this movie, watch this movie. I've seen Twitter links showing this movie. I demand all of them apologize. All of them apologize. Right? I mean, let's keep the same energy. No, nobody gives a fuck because it's just us. Us on the bottom of the totem pole. Just take it. Get over it. Get over it. That's what we gotta do. We always gotta just get over it. Every fucking slight. Every racist disgrace that we have to deal with. We just gotta get over it. Yeah. So, just want to throw that out there. And this isn't the only one. This ain't the only one. It's just the most notorious film. Oh, just to put this out there too. Did you know that this was the number one grossing movie in America for over 20 years? From 1915 to 1939. Do you know what movie surpassed it? Gone with the Wind. Another Civil War racist movie.